Hello everyone. Today we're diving into an important topic: how social class systems, family structure, and socioeconomic status shape opportunities and wealth distribution in society. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of these concepts, plus real-world examples to connect theory with reality. Let's get started. First, let's define the social class system. Social class refers to hierarchical arrangements of individuals in society, often based on wealth, income, education, and occupation, and social networks. There are two key ways to understand social class: the socioeconomic ladder perspective. This view sees class as a ladder, where individuals and families occupy different positions based on their socioeconomic achievements. In this perspective, moving up or down the ladder reflects changes in wealth, education, or career success over time. The discrete group perspective. This approach categorizes people into distinct groups, such as upper class, middle class, and lower class. Based on shared traits and behaviors and access to resources, these boundaries can feel more rigid, emphasizing clear divisions between groups. In the United States, the class system has traditionally been divided into three main groups: the upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. However, in recent decades, sociologists have identified a fourth class: the working class. This group typically includes individuals in manual labor or service-oriented jobs, earning modest wages but not necessarily aligned with characteristics of the lower class. The inclusion of the working class highlights a unique dynamic in the American socioeconomic landscape. Now, let's talk about wealth distribution, which is the way resources, assets, and income are shared among people in society. In the US, the distribution is highly unequal. For instance, the wealthiest 10% of households control nearly 70% of the nation's wealth, while the bottom 50% own just 2%. This wealth gap drives many of the challenges faced by lower-income families, from limited access to education and healthcare to restricted opportunities for upward mobility. Together, the class system and wealth distribution shape how individuals and families navigate society. Those higher on the socioeconomic ladder, or in wealthier classes, often have access to better opportunities and resources, while those lower on the ladder face systematic barriers that reinforce inequality. Now let's talk about the family. A family is a social unit that provides emotional, economic, and social support to its members. The socioeconomic advantages a family can offer often depend on their class identification. For instance, families in the upper class have access to higher quality education, better healthcare, and extensive social networks. In contrast, lower class families may face challenges such as financial instability, limited educational opportunities, and fewer connections to influential networks. These differences are key to understanding how class impacts life outcomes. Next, let's examine how class and family structure influence socioeconomic opportunities. Research shows that children from well-off families often benefit from early investments in their education, extracurricular activities, and career mentoring. Meanwhile, children from lower-income families may encounter systematic barriers, such as underfunded schools or the need to work early to support their households. Family structure also plays a critical role. For example, single-parent households may struggle with fewer financial resources compared to dual-income households, directly affecting opportunities like higher education or career development. So, are there reports or studies that support these ideas? Let me share some impactful examples from recent research. In their book, Social Class and Educational Inequality: The Impact of Parents and Schools, Siraj and Mayo highlight how parental involvement in school environments differ across social classes. They emphasize that families in higher socioeconomic brackets often have the resources to engage more deeply with their children's education, leading to better economic outcomes. Meanwhile, families from lower income backgrounds may face barriers such as long working hours or limited access to quality schools, which can hinder their children's progress. George Barjas, in Making It in America: Social Mobility in the Immigrant Population, explores how social mobility varies for immigrant families. He finds that while some immigrant groups achieve upward mobility within a generation, systematic barriers like discrimination or access to networks can limit opportunities for others. This underscores how both class and family structure intersect with ethnicity to shape economic outcomes. Ben Habib, Bison, and Lowell. use a quantitative approach to examine wealth distribution and social mobility in the U.S. They reveal how wealth concentration at the top impedes mobility for those at the bottom, making it increasingly difficult to lower-income families to climb the economic ladder. This entrenched inequality highlights why policies targeting wealth redistribution are critical for promoting equal opportunities. Bartrud, Mogstad, and Mountjoy provide an international perspective in their study on Norway's Reform 94. This reform, which extended high school education, significantly improved social mobility for students from lower-income families. It's a compelling example of how systemic changes in education policy can level the playing field. Finally, Monroe Gomez Franco, in Shades of Social Mobility, Colorism, Ethnic Origin, and Intergenerational Social Mobility, examines how social mobility is affected by factors like colorism and ethnic origin. His findings reveal that even within the same socioeconomic class, individuals may face vastly different opportunities due to racial or ethnic bias, further complicating the pathway to equality. These studies collectively demonstrate how intertwined class, family, and systemic factors are in shaping opportunities and outcomes. To bring all of this into perspective, I want to share my own family story and how our experiences reflect many of the concepts we've discussed today. My family's journey in the United States started with my Nana, who migrated from Panama. She married a military man stationed there, and together they moved to the U.S. with their 3 children, my mom and my uncles. Coming to America, my Nana found herself in a unique socioeconomic position as a part of a military family. This meant that while she hadn't completed higher education beyond high school in Panama, she had access to military support systems, such as housing assistance and healthcare, which provided a level of stability for her family. As a full-time mom, my Nana also worked part-time jobs to keep herself busy and help make ends meet. My mom and uncles attended Department of Defense education activity schools, which offered a unique, high-quality educational experience due to their location on military bases. Since military families often move between countries, my mom and uncles had the opportunity to live in diverse environments and benefits from structured military-sponsored resources. Both my uncles didn't complete college, but as a part of the 1.5 generations, which are immigrants who arrived as children or young adults, they found promising careers through their own personal efforts, successfully supporting their families. My mom, on the other hand, became a single mother when she had me at 19. For the first couple of years of my life, she worked hard to provide for me on her own until she met my stepdad, who was also in the military. This placed our family into a similar socioeconomic position as my grandparents, relying on the military aid and benefits to maintain stability. Growing up, we were a blended family, with me as the eldest half-sibling and my younger half-sister and brother. As second-generation immigrants, my siblings and I were born in the U.S. while my mom was born abroad. We straddled the line between cultural heritage and American military family life. In terms of class, our family experience fits into what could be described as the upper working class or middle class. Military life gave us an advantage such as stable housing, access to good schools, and healthcare, which aligns with the findings from Siraj and Mayo's work, where they described how parental affiliations and institutional support, like military programs, can significantly impact a family's trajectory. At the same time, there were challenges, which disrupted continuity in our social connections and education. This mirrors findings from Barhaus about immigrant families navigating systematic challenges while seeking stability and upward mobility. Reflecting on my family's experience, I can see how structural support like military aid offered opportunities for mobility, but the lack of higher education attainment among my Nana and uncles and mother limited how far our socioeconomic position could grow compared to families with more educational advantages. However, through resilience and resourcefulness, my family has managed to build a life that's stable and rewarding, exemplifying the complex interplay between class, family structure, and opportunity. My family story is just one example of how social class, family structure, and institutional systems like the military influence socioeconomic outcomes. It highlights the advantages that structured support can offer while also showing the barriers that exist without access to higher education or broader social networks. To recap, social class systems and wealth distribution define access to resources, while family structure and socioeconomic status significantly shape opportunities. The examples we've explored today reveal how deeply these factors are intertwined. As you think about these concepts, consider how policies and social programs can help bridge these gaps and create a more equitable society. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you all enjoyed my Reteach It project. Have a wonderful day. Bye.